Who are the best Star Wars non-Force sensitive characters? That's what we're going to discuss on today's show. Hey, it's me, AP, and welcome to the Saturday Movie Show, the show where we discuss movies and more movies. Everything basically to do with movies. And today is going to be another solid show, and today we are diving into the galaxy, a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars, and we're looking at characters in the Star Wars universe that have no Force-like powers. These are characters that have, they're just heroes in the galaxy far, far away, or some of them may be villains. It could be a bit of both, really. Um, but I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I've discussed Star Wars plenty of times on the channel, and I've really wanted to, you know, sort of like just grab a small portion of it and dive into something within a galaxy far, far away. And this is why today's topic has come about, and I can't wait to dive into today's headline topic. But before we jump into the topic of today's Saturday movie show, we are going to do the usual part of the show, usual beginning of the show where we do some not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping. This is the part of the show where we discuss what's going on with the channel. Just a usual roundup of the week and just an easing into the show for today's Saturday movie show. So let's go for it. Some not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping. So what has been going on this past week with the channel? First off the bat, last week we did the Friday movie special and the Saturday movie show last week, and they were both live shows. The first live shows I've done on the channel. First live show I've ever been a part of myself, anyway, as well. And first off, it was awesome. It was awesome. I was super nervous on the first show we did on the Friday. For the reason I said on that show, I was just like nerves, but I think a lot of it was to do with the setup. I think just like, in the back of my head, like, are things recording? Can people hear me? Can people see me? And it worked out really well. We had a great bunch of people on both of those streams in the live stream, and a great bunch of people after it as well, commenting on stuff. But to those who were involved in both of those live streams, it was great. It was a really cool chat we had going in there, and a great community vibe. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But the live shows are great. I really loved the energy of the live shows, and I thought I would. The Saturday one we did last Saturday, I gotta say I was a lot less nervous because Fridays went so well in the end after the first sort of like 15 minutes, the nerves. It went great, and Saturday I feel like I had the rhythm, and I had the rhythm of doing the normal show as well as interacting with everyone in the community, and that was the best thing of all. Being able, I think like Sean, Media Collector Madness, he mentioned this to me in a message. He said it's great to have that live interaction within the community, and I absolutely agree with Sean on that. I love that interaction with you all out there, and I love the interaction as well. On the Friday movie special we were doing, it was great to see other people just interacting in the live feed and having conversations just together without having like the need of the video as well. It was just nice to see that, and that is what I really like. I love that community interaction here on the channel. But the live stream was great. I loved it as someone who's done like live gigging in the past as part of like bands. For me, I mentioned this to a friend of mine, Lee. I said to him, I loved it because it felt like gigging again. It was that live interaction with people. I really get a buzz off that. I couldn't sleep on that Friday, I'll be honest with you. I was in work the next day. I couldn't sleep. I was just so excited, and I was just so pumped. And same Saturday, I was doing that show, and I was just so excited and so pumped up afterwards. It was awesome. So we will be doing more live shows. I know today is not a live show. This is a pre-recorded, pre-taped show, if you like. There's no tapes involved, but this is a pre-recorded one. The reason is, I'll be honest with you, we are going to do more live shows in the future, and that's definitely going to happen. I'm now just working out a permanent setup to do it, to get a good quality. The video wasn't up to the usual standards, and that was the one thing that's kind of just pushed me back from doing a live show this week. I'm going to get a sort of more live setup, permanent setup sorted out over the next couple of weeks, maybe over the next week or so. But I promise you, we will be doing more live shows. The live shows are so much fun, and they are saving me a ton of time on editing as well. It's like go in there, do the live show, done and dusted. That's great, and I still get that massive buzz from doing it. So there will be more live shows once I've got a permanent setup with the PC all set up. Because the last week I was just doing it in my bedroom, and I had tables everywhere, like just random bits of furniture, just holding up pieces of gear. It was a bit of a nightmare, but it was worth it for the great community atmosphere. So we will be doing more of those live shows. Fear not, we will have more coming up very, very soon on the channel. But let's move forward with some more not so worthy Blockbuster housekeeping. The video this week on the channel. What video we had out this week? We've had a video this week which has done really well so far. A lot of people seem to like it. We had a lot of interaction with the video and a lot of comments on the video and people giving their thoughts and views on the video. The video was my storage wallet movie collection in 2021. It was me showing all the movies that I had in my movie collection, and it was great. I really enjoyed it. It was just a spur of the moment video. I was thinking of like just a random video idea what I could do on the day of filming, and I just thought, you know what, I've not shared any of the movies in the folder for a while, so it was I just talked about the wallet I used, the storage wallet for storing movies. And it was great, and like I said, a lot of interaction, a lot of different thoughts on that video as well. I know a lot of people have like having bookcases all around the room with movies on stored like that. And I've said this many times. I think, you know what, I go on Pinterest sometimes, and I see I'll type in like video gaming collections or movie collections. I actually love looking at collections that people have on like bookcases on walls. I think it looks awesome, and I really like the look of it when people have that in the movie rooms or the video gaming rooms. For me though, personally, I just prefer, for my own collection, I just like having like a minimal storage solution, which works for me. And the wallet is great, and the collection behind me is great as well. But if you've not checked out that video, check it out, and I will obviously give you more reasoning within that video to why I use the storage wallet for some of my movies as well. But great video. Thank you to all of you who have interacted and commented and checked out that video. Really do appreciate you checking it out. It was a fun video, and it's great to see all the comments as always, to interact with you all. It was great. What else has been going on? We've this past week I've been doing some. I'll be honest, it's been a productive week this past week or so. I've done. So I filmed the normal video, but I filmed the Patreon video. I've now made the commitment to myself that by the 15th of every single month, I must have at least all the Patreon content done for that month. Really, the video content and the audio content now, because each month now on Patreon, if you sign up to Patreon, it's like a $1 minimum you can give. Like, you can sign up for a $1 to support the channel, and basically you get bonus content if you want it. And it's this week I filmed a new podcast episode that was coming out at the end of the month. It is a new episode of the Watch Order Task Force, where it's a bit of silliness, but also me going through different movies and giving you the best possible watch order for viewing pleasure. It's really fun. I think there's a few teaser episodes on the channel. You can just get a teaser of what the episode is like in general. But I really enjoyed that. It was a really fun episode to do. So that was all signed, sealed, and delivered for the end of the month now. That's all done. Record that podcast. I also filmed another bonus video as well. So the bonus videos are going to be a regular thing now on Patreon. I feel like I've got the groove of that now. I've got the formula of doing extra content, and the extra content will be related to the Monster Hideaway, my short film that's coming out this month, because it's every 3 months we do some sort of special content for the channel. This month it is me releasing my short film. But normally we do like movie quizzes, things like that, and to celebrate the third month as like a pay-per-view month for the channel. And it's going to be a bonus video related to that Monster Hideaway one. The one last month was like a behind the scenes look. This one is going to be a slightly different sort of thing. Well, that will be coming out a few days before the short film hits on the 30th of September, I believe. I think it's the last day of the month, actually. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you all. If you want to sign up to Patreon, the links are below. I always appreciate your support to all my Patreons out there. But if you don't want to do it, don't feel like you have to. It's there for extra content whenever you want it. You know the drill. You know the drill, folks. But anyway, what else? Okay, one more thing of not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping, and then we'll get into the main show. This today is show number 46. Show number 46, and we have got show number 50 coming up. It is scheduled in now, penciled in. This is a rough scheduling because I may be changing it around slightly because I might be taking. I need to work out when the DC Fandom event is. I'm not too sure because if the DC Fandom event is a certain week, if it's the week of the 50th, I'm going to delay it by a week because I want to do some sort of coverage on the DC Fandom event, or I'll skip a week at some point. We'll suss it out. We'll suss out some sort of scheduling. I don't know, but at the moment, the 50th show of the Saturday Movie Show is scheduled in for October 16th. That is the date, Saturday, October 16th. That's the date penciled in at the moment. It'll most likely be a pre-recorded show, just for the reason that we're going to try and get some collaborations on that video. It's going to be Best Year in Movies, and I've contacted a few different creators. I'm still contacting people about getting involved on doing up to a 2-minute video, either on your phone or on a camera, whatever's easiest. Send that to me. Give me your best year in movies and 4 movies from that given year. This is an open invitation to anyone in the community who wants to get involved. If you want to get involved, send me a video in with that, and the email address to send it to is SaturdayMovieShow50. That is a number 50 at hotmail.com. If you want to get involved, send it that way. Also, if you don't feel confident, you don't want to do the video, that is fine. Don't feel like you have to do that. But if you still want to get involved, there is still an opportunity to get involved. You can do the same process of emailing me or sending me a message on Twitter or Instagram, whatever's easiest for yourself. Or if you want to leave me a comment, a DM, a comment on the YouTube comments below, feel free. You can email me or send me a message of your favourite movies and your favourite year of movies and give me a reason why in a short statement, maybe like a small paragraph, and I'll read it out on the show. I just want people to... This is a thing for the community, this show. There's a community show in my eyes, and I want the 50th episode to involve as many people within the community as possible. And look, if it's just myself on that show, that's the way it goes. But if I get even one person on that show, I will be really excited. I think it'll be awesome. But look, we've got a few shows away now, but I'm getting even more excited about the 50th episode. It's cool that we've grown this little community here over 50 episodes. It's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to the 50th episode with you all because, like I said, there's no I in this. This is a team effort. This is a community show. This is built by us all, this show, the way I see it. But anyway, that is the end of some housekeeping for today's section of the show. We are now going to go on to the headline topic. So the headline topic of today's show is Best Star Wars Non-Force Sensitive Characters. And why did I pick this topic? First of all, because, like I said, I really enjoy Star Wars, and I feel like when we talk about Star Wars, or when I talk about Star Wars, I always go to, your Jedis. It's always someone who's got some Force-like abilities, or it's a Darth Vader, a Kylo Ren, one of those characters. And I feel like sometimes the characters who are non-Force sensitive, the characters who have no Force-like abilities, they can't use the Force to wield a lightsaber. I mean, they could grab a lightsaber, but I mean, they wouldn't really know I mean, they'd probably get killed instantly because they have no Force-like abilities. They can't move things with their hands. They can't do any Jedi mind tricks. Nothing like that. They are the characters I want to shine a light on today. Shine a spotlight on those characters because they deserve some recognition. And I am going to give you 4 of my top picks today, my favourite best Star Wars non-Force sensitive characters. And I'm going to explain my choices and explain some of my favourite reasons to why these are my favourite characters. And hopefully it'll be an enjoyable show and an enjoyable topic. So let's dive into it. Let's dive into the headline topic. So first of all, my first pick for this topic is best non-Force sensitive characters. First choice is Boba Fett. Boba Fett. He joined the Star Wars. Well, hear this, right? I didn't know this. Boba Fett was first introduced in an animated section on the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'll be totally honest. I've only seen like odd clips of the Holiday Special. I've never seen it in all its glory. I know it's been buried far, far away from anything Disney related and anything Star Wars related. But apparently that character was introduced in an animated section on that Holiday Special. I'm gonna have to check it out because I've not seen it yet. I find it very interesting that it's come from that. But he made his character, the debut of that character, Boba Fett, the bounty hunter, Boba Fett, the Mandalorian. He made his official debut really, in Empire Strikes Back. In The Empire Strikes Back. And, you know, he was introduced in the scene with Darth Vader when he was recruiting different bounty hunters to get the Millennium Falcon and the crew on the Millennium Falcon. And he was one of those who was hired by Darth Vader to hunt down the Millennium Falcon. So that's when we were introduced to that character. On the original trilogy, the original cut of the trilogy, the character was played by Jeremy Bulloch, and then we now know him more to be played by Tamora Morrison. I think he's a New Zealand actor. He is the guy who played Jango Fett in the originals, the father of Boba, but then he went on to play to play Boba in the Mandalorian TV show because he was a clone of that character, so he was obviously going to look like that. And we have now since seen it in the reworked versions of the original trilogy that Tamora Morrison actor has done the voiceover for Boba Fett in them movies, replacing Jeremy Bulloch's voice. Because I believe Jeremy Bulloch was a British guy, I'm pretty sure. Because I think he died over maybe a year or two ago. He actually died. He passed away, sadly. But I think it's more known now. When you think of Boba Fett, you think of the guy who plays him in the Mandalorian TV show. I think it's more commonly known. When people think of Boba Fett, I think a lot of people would think of him playing the role because he was the guy as well who played Boba Fett unmasked as well in the Mandalorian TV show. So that's a bit of a quick history note. He also made an appearance in Return of the Jedi, and as I said, in the Mandalorian TV show as well. In the Return of the Jedi, we're led to believe that he dies, and he falls into the Sarlacc pit, and we believe that is the end of him. But we do see him return many years later in the Mandalorian TV show, the first Star Wars TV show in Season 2. He was teased in Season 1. But why do I like this character so much, this bounty hunter, this kind of like a tweener-like character? When I say a tweener, I mean he's neither a good guy or a bad guy. He kind of comes across more like a bad guy in the original trilogy. But when you look at him in the Mandalorian TV show, he's more of like a good guy with, well, kind of like a bad guy with good intentions at times. You don't really know which side he is going to sort of fall upon. So I always think he's a tweener, a character in the middle of the side of good and evil, really. But why do I like this character so much? I gotta be honest. I wasn't like, I know a lot of people have a lot of love for Boba Fett as a character for the original trilogy, but really, he doesn't feature that much in that original trilogy. And at times, I've watched the original trilogy, and before the Mandalorian TV show, and people would say, oh yeah, Boba Fett is great. And it's not that I didn't like his character. I thought he was a decent character, and I've probably been quoted to saying, yeah, Boba Fett's awesome, but he didn't really do anything, and I didn't feel like his significance in the trilogy was huge compared to like a Han Solo or a Luke Skywalker or a Leia. I mean, he didn't really add that much to that trilogy. But for me, where my love of that character grows is in the Mandalorian TV show. Because we get this rework of the character, this reboot, this refresh of the character. And we see him come back and he's looking for his armor because his armor has been taken, and the Mando now holds his armor and he's trying to find his armor. He wants his armor back because it was given to him by his father. Well, he'd taken it from his father when he died. And it's really cool seeing the scenes of him in this like revised version of his suit, because he's got like sort of like a cloak underneath his suit in the Mandalorian TV show, and then he's got his proper armor on, and we see him unmasked in that show as well. But when you're first introduced to him in season 2, and he's like helping Mando, and I think they're battling maybe some of Moff Gideon's sort of like cronies, and they're taking him on, taking him to the town, they're destroying them. I think it's when Grogu is on top of this big rock and he's trying to connect to a Force user on Mandalorian, and you just see him become an absolute badass, and it just really made me go, wow, this character is legit. He's a legit badass. He's awesome. And I really did get that first feeling of going, you know what, Boba Fett is awesome. And I finally feel like I can say it. I can say out loud, and I can say to people, you know why Boba Fett is awesome? Because of the way they put him in The Mandalorian, the way they shown him off to be a complete incredible bounty hunter. They made him look like the bounty hunter that we'd heard the rumors of. We heard of this bounty hunter, Boba Fett, this awesome bounty hunter. And he proved to, this guy can fight. He can battle. He can take down armies of people. He is just awesome at fighting in general. And that really just made me, say to myself, that is an awesome and one of the best non-Force sensitive characters in the Star Wars universe. Really, a really great character. And it's more exciting now as well for Boba Fett as well. We know we're getting future projects with that character, because we are getting the upcoming Disney Plus TV show, The Book of Boba Fett, which will be like a spin-off from The Mandalorian. He will be taking center stage in that show. We don't really know all that much about it, whether it's going to be like a prequel, a sequel, whether it's going to be more of like an anthology show. We don't really know that much at this moment in time. What we do know, it is slated to come out in December 2021 on Disney Plus. So that is exciting that we've got a date. And hopefully, very soon we're going to get trailers and a bit more information of that, because it's coming up before you know it. It's going to be getting a release. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what the future of that character is, because I feel like now he has arrived. For me, he has arrived now. He looks like a badass. He looks like a bounty hunter that can take on armies. And I'm excited to see what the future is for Boba Fett. And I think he is a really, really cool character in the Star Wars universe. But anyway, let's move forward. Let's move forward to my second choice of the show. So, second choice, and we are going to go with the second choice, which is Din Djarin. I always feel like I'm going to butcher that name, but I think that is the correct pronunciation. Din Djarin. That we'll refer to him as Mando, the Mandalorian, the star of the Mandalorian, or one of the stars of the Mandalorian TV show, played by Pedro Pascal, who previously featured in Game of Thrones, and I only know him from Game of Thrones and The Equalizer 2 as the villain in that movie. Pedro Pascal, but he is the main character in the Mandalorian TV show with Grogu, Baby Yoda. And he is also a non-sensitive character. I've done my research on this episode. I've been looking at characters and saying, is this character... Here it is, right. Poe Dameron apparently is he's a Force-sensitive character. But Din Djarin is a non-Force-sensitive character. And that is surprising. I thought Poe Dameron, because he was going to be one of my picks, but he is one pick I can't choose. But Din Djarin, why do I like this character? So we see this character make his debut in the Mandalorian TV show, an original character for this show created by Jon Favreau. And look, he is a character who resembles the image of Boba Fett. He wears the same Mandalorian-like armor. So we get introduced to this show, and it's like everyone feels like it's got that Boba Fett-like vibe to it. But he's a very different character to Boba Fett. Where Boba Fett is kind of like a bit more of an outlaw. He does things his own way. He's just like a reckless character in a way. Din Djarin is a character who we grow to love for, for his abilities to care for others, really. And I think that comes from his background. He's a member of the Mandalorian, sort of like, I don't know how the House of Mandalore. But it's like a philosophy Mandalorian. It's not like a race of people, it's a philosophy more so. And he was adopted by the Mandalorian culture as a child, because all the people on his planet were killed. So he was adopted into that culture, and then he has to, become a Mandalorian. He can never take off his mask, and then he must always be that. I must also say, Boba Fett is not technically a Mandalorian. I think his father was, but he is not a Mandalorian per se. That's why he has no problems taking off his mask. He doesn't care. But Din Djarin is a Mandalorian, so he has to really live by that culture and that way of life where he can't take off his mask. It's forbidden. And we do see him throughout the show take off his mask for certain reasons, for certain pivotal moments, and we see in the finale of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I'm not going to give any spoiler warnings as well, because it's well gone now. If you're not a Star Wars fan, if you are a Star Wars fan, you would have watched it by now. I'm sorry. There is going to be spoilers for The Mandalorian. I do apologise if you get offended by that, but there's spoilers ahead. But we see him in the end moments of The Mandalorian TV show when he takes off his helmet to Grogu, to show Grogu his face. But let's get more into that relationship. What I love about Din Djarin is his father-like abilities towards this little creature, Grogu, Baby Yoda. And the way he takes him on as his own child, basically, and he's there to protect him, and he will do anything to protect him. And to see that connection of this character at first, when we're first introduced to the Mandalorian, you feel like he is just a bounty hunter. He is just a very similar character to Boba Fett, and he'll maybe do anything for money, for food, whatever it is, and anything for the bounty. But we see a course correction in his life. He meets Grogu, and he decides to take him on and to try and find more people like Grogu, more Force-sensitive characters, and he does that in the end. He finds Luke Skywalker for Grogu. He passes him to Grogu, and it's a very emotional scene when he's giving Grogu to Luke Skywalker, because he feels like it's like giving away his son to another person. It's such a really great emotional attachment between these. The connection is there. It's like a father-son relationship, and it's great to see. And I think especially in series 2, season 2 especially, you see the development of baby Grogu, but you see Din Djarin, the Mando, trying to teach Grogu important lessons of not to eat like them baby frog characters and stuff like that. There's so many little moments where he's teaching moments to him, and he's got that. He's got them father-like abilities, but he's also a great warrior as well. He's a great Mandalorian fighter. He's great in battle. He's great at taking on people in battles. He's a guy you want in your side if there was a battle in the Star Wars universe. So he is a great fighter as well for someone who is not Force sensitive, who is non-Force sensitive, which is very great to see. And what I also like is in the end moments of season 2 as well, we see him now as the proud owner of the Darksaber. He beat Moff Gideon in battle, and when you beat the previous owner in battle of the Darksaber, if you beat them for the Darksaber, you are then the rightful owner of the Darksaber. So we are going to see in season 3 of The Mandalorian, which I'm sure will come at some point next year, we will see him wielding the Darksaber. And maybe maybe it could it could be in the future be revealed that Din Djarin has Force-like abilities. We're doing this show now with with the information I've got. I'm being told online on Wikipedia. Wikipedia told me directly that Din Djarin is not Force sensitive. So he isn't now, but who's to say in the future he isn't, or in a future spin-off comic or something they reveal that he has some abilities. I would not be surprised by that. I think it could possibly happen, but at this moment in time, he is officially a non-Force sensitive character. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to season 3 to see him wielding that dark saber for more opportunities, more battles. I think it'll be great to see. There's nothing more I like to see in Star Wars than some sort of lightsaber, and seeing that dark saber, it was cool. To see more stuff like that will be even awesome, but to see the Mando wielding it in more episodes, I am down for that. I think it's ace. I think he's a really cool, kick-ass character, and I love that connection between him and Grogu. It's a very different relationship than you get in the galaxy far, far away. I don't see that in the original trilogy. I don't see it in any of the other trilogies. It's a very different story, very different set of characters put together, and it works really well. I think it's really cool. So my third pick of best non-Force sensitive characters has got to go to R2-D2. That is right. My third pick is a droid, and let me just say the character was played by Kenny Baker, the British actor. I believe he passed away a few years ago. I think in the last few movies, someone else played that character, was inside the character of R2-D2. But I will say R2-D2 is one of the best non-Force sensitive characters. For one reason, he is so significant to the plot of most of the Star Wars movies. And in particular, I'm looking at like A New Hope. New Hope, he is the character that I'm going to refer to him as he. I will just say he. I know it's a droid. It could be he or she, but maybe I'll drift between he and she. But R2-D2, I will say it's just such a cool character. And we see it in A New Hope. He holds the message of Leia for Obi-Wan, and it's the message that is very pivotal to the plot. We see it in The Force Awakens, where he holds the map to Luke Skywalker. And just there's so many moments, the relationship between him and C-3PO, it's just pure comedy. For a character that doesn't have any speech abilities, it's just beeps and boops. It feels like he's got a voice, and it feels like it's a character that can, we know what he's saying, we know what he's trying to get over from the way he is in scenes, and it's really weird to say that a character that has no vocal ability really has such an impact on movies, but it does, and it is great. And I think a lot of it probably is to do with C-3PO, Anthony Daniels playing C-3PO, his interaction with that character as well, and I suppose you could put them together. I feel like R2-D2 is just all the more significant than C-3PO. He's such a great character. I mean, I love him in them scenes. I mean, the first couple of scenes in Star Wars A New Hope is great, but when they're picking out the droids, and then they have that other droid that is picked before R2-D2 in the line by Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, I'm thinking of Spider-Man, by Uncle Owen, Luke's uncle. And he picks out this other droid, and then the other droid just starts blowing up, and then C-3PO's like, why don't you pick this droid here? I've worked with him a few times before, and it's R2-D2, and you see him for the first time, and you just see this droid, and he just looks happy. And when it's a scene when Luke is looking for Obi-Wan, and there's scenes there when you just see him, they're looking for Obi-Wan, and when Luke gets attacked and stuff, it's just great. And then you see Obi-Wan Kenobi come out, and he's like, come down, come, don't be afraid. And you see R2-D2 then come out, and it's just, I just love the character. I love the interaction with C-3PO. I love the interaction with all the other characters within the Star Wars films. I just think it's a great character and really great significance to Star Wars as a whole. And I think everyone really who likes Star Wars appreciates R2-D2 as a character, because it's a character I think it's been in most films, pretty much all the films. I think even in the Han Solo spin-off movie, maybe in Rogue One. I'm not too sure about Rogue One, but it's just a character that's always been there. And when you think of Star Wars, I just think you think of that image of R2D2. Kind of very similar to the Millennium Falcon. R2D2 is just such a prominent figure that has always been there within Star Wars. But anyway, that is my third choice. What is my fourth choice today? The fourth and final choice. I feel like I have left this, the best one, for last. And I think some of you will know the choice. Because if you are a Star Wars fan, you'll be saying to yourself, what about this guy? What about this guy? Why has he not been in your pick so far? And that is because I'm saving him for last. And the final pick is, drumroll, Han Solo. Han Solo is my fourth and final pick of best non-Force sensitive Star Wars characters. And I couldn't leave this guy off the list. Han Solo, played by Harrison Ford, also played by Alden Ehrenreich in the Han Solo spin-off movie. I'll get onto both of them performances in a moment, but the smuggler, the scoundrel, the guy who, alongside Chewie, is riding the Millennium Falcon across the galaxy. We see him debut in A New Hope, and we see him as a guy that Obi-Wan Kenobi, Old Ben, and Luke are hiring to get a flight. And, you know, they hire him, and we're introduced there, and then he's a bit of like an outlaw-like character. He does his own thing. He doesn't really care. That's the kind of the vibe we get from it at first. But then we find out later in the movie he wants to help the rebels defeat the Empire and to destroy the Death Star, and he does. And he comes back to help Luke and help everyone else, and it's awesome. And to see in just one movie his progression of being this scoundrel-like character who just doesn't care about anyone. So at the end of the movie, we see him as a character who shows that he does care and he does have a heart. And I feel like that is like a similar story throughout the movies. He's a character that you think he doesn't really have a heart, and then by the end of the movie, you feel like, yeah, he does have a heart. He's a great character. But I love Han Solo. I think he's a superb character. Gotta say, Harrison Ford is my favourite playing that role. I think for everyone, just because he played him first, but because he played that role so great. He was like, if you look at the cast of Star Wars, Mark Hamill, I would say, is a few years younger, and Leia, Carrie Fisher, was definitely a few years younger than Harrison Ford, and he seemed like a more of a senior figure in that cast when you look at them, even though he was still really young at the time, probably like late 20s, 30. But he just looks a bit more like a wiser character in there, and he seems like an actor who's, you know, pulling it all together sometimes with the performances. I think he's a great actor, Harrison Ford. His performances were amazing. But I gotta say, the guy who played him in the Solo movie, Alden Ehrenreich, if I'm saying that name correctly, I really enjoyed his performance. I didn't feel like he was doing like an impression of Harrison Ford. I feel like he was doing his own sort of thing, and I think it worked. It was good performance as Han Solo. I liked that movie. I thought it was a really good Star Wars movie as well. And, you know, I would love to see more from that guy in that role as well. Because I don't think we're going to see more of Harrison Ford as Han Solo. That character has now been killed off. He was killed in The Force Awakens. We see him killed by his own son, Ben Solo, also known as Kylo Ren. And we see him, he does make an appearance again in the Rise of Skywalker movie, the last movie in the Skywalker saga, as like a ghost, as a memory for Ben Solo. And he's a memory trying to console his son and, you know, to point him in the right direction, which is nice. And it was a nice send-off moment and a nice interaction between father and son there, because very different to the relationship with Mando and Grogu. It feels like Han Solo and Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, didn't probably have the best relationship, father-son relationship. That's probably why he killed him. He was a mixed-up child, and Han Solo probably wasn't there much for him. And that's what you get the gist of with them movies. But he always feels like a character who's always trying to do right, but he just falls wrong sometimes. But I love it. I think he's a great character. Great character within the Star Wars universe, especially in that original trilogy. When we see him in the second movie, he gets frozen in that carbonite, and we see that famous image of Han Solo in the carbonite, and then we see him in the Return of the Jedi. They save him. He comes out of the carbonite, and we see him, be a hero again, and it's great. We see him. It's just a great performance throughout all in 3 films. I don't feel like it's a character that dips at all. Each storyline he has within the 3 original movies are great. In The Force Awakens as well, I really enjoy that character in that as a passing of the torch character to the new characters in the Star Wars universe. I think it worked really well. And I gotta say, I was shocked when he got killed at the time, but I think it worked well because it made Kylo Ren's character have a lot more weight to his character because he killed his own father. And for me, that really nailed home that this character is going to be a big time character because he killed Han Solo, a big character in the Star Wars universe, and he also killed his own father at the same time. So Han Solo for me is great, and I think for me the standout moments are just being introduced to that character the first time. Just seeing him for the first time and this outlawish character, when you've got him mixed in with Luke Skywalker, who's this blue chipper, who's, blue-eyed guy. He doesn't do anything wrong, Luke Skywalker. He's just like the almighty good guy. You've got Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's just a wise old elf, and then you've got Han Solo, who's just this outlawish character, who's this bad boy who does what he wants. And it's a great mix of all those characters. And then when you throw in Leia as well, the relationship, the romance between them is great to see, especially in like Empire Strikes Back. The when he's going into the carbonite, and it's just there's some great moments in Han Solo's career, in his stories in the Star Wars universe, and he for me is my 4th and final choice as best non-Force sensitive Star Wars characters. Great character. But anyway, that is the headline topic over for today's show, and we are going to now move on to some movies for the weekend. And this is the part of the show where I give you some movies that I'm going to recommend for this weekend and what I'm going to watch this weekend, hopefully. So, what have I got up for this weekend? Well, first of all, I have got, talking about Star Wars today, I've got Star Wars The Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, not The Return of the Jedi. Great movie. The end of that trilogy, the original trilogy, superb end. I love this film. I think it's great at the conclusion of Darth Vader turning good in the end and helping his son, and helping the rest of the galaxy. It's a great movie. I love this. I think it's great seeing Luke Skywalker as a full-time Jedi finally in this movie. And it's like he's complete, he's whole now. He is a Jedi. And I really love this story in this. Great movie. Well worth watching if you're looking for something to watch this weekend. Now let's move away from a galaxy far away and give you a recommendation. Here it is a Martin Scorsese movie, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, and Mark Wahlberg, and that movie is The Departed. Great movie. Really cool soundtrack throughout. And I gotta say, this is one I watched a few years ago. Not expecting much, but this movie is a solid gold movie. Gold class movie, great movie by Martin Scorsese, and well worth checking out. Really good. If you like crime movies, sort of like gangster sort of stuff, it's all in this movie. Very much a typical Martin Scorsese movie in a way, but some great performances. I think this is Jack Nicholson's last performance in a movie. I know he's still alive, thankfully, but I'm pretty sure this was his last acting performance, and I think he's like retired now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Great movie, The Departed, well worth checking out anyway. But anyway, what have I been watching this week? I've been watching a few different things because we've got the World Movie League coming up soon. And the World Movie League is a new series that's going to be on the channel, new set of videos, and there is one video, the official draw and the sort of like introduction to the series on the channel at the moment. Well worth checking out if you're interested. But I've been doing some movie watching, some research for that show because I'm rewatching a lot of movies. So 2 of them I've been watching this week. First of all, I've been watching the original Blade movie. And the Wesley Snipes Blade Fantastic film, something I've not watched in a while, and I've had a lot of people in the community recommend watching Blade again, and I'm glad I did. It was a great movie, really fun watch. It's definitely some of the effects in it have aged, but I feel like the story as a whole, it was fun. It was a fun movie, an entertaining movie, definitely an entertaining movie. There's some bits of the story that I would say, I think that some of the villains are not great, but Blade just makes up for it for being such a like a really fantastically cool character. And I think Wesley Snipes just oozes in charisma. He is awesome. But that is a great movie to watch. Blade, well worth checking out. Again, if you're looking for something else to watch this weekend. Another one, though, that is in my first round of picks for the World Movie League is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And I've been rewatching this. I watched it years ago. And I'd not watched it for a while. And again, rewatched it, and I know why people love that movie, and I know why it's classed as like a cult classic movie. It's spectacular. I mean, every scene in that movie, I just look at visually, it is so cool to look at. It is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's like, I think it's based on a graphic. It is a graphic novel. It was based on a comic book, and there's a lot of like video game references, and the actual visuals are very inspired by video games, which is really cool. And you see like the video gaming like graphics in the movie, and it's such a fun movie to watch. And I watched it the other day, and I was just like in awe of how cool it was to look at. Really fun movie, well worth checking out. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. But that was fun to watch those movies in for the World Movie League. I'm really looking forward to recording that show. And I really enjoyed rewatching them movies because they were really both of them movies, both really, really entertaining to watch. But anyway, that is another show over and done with. If you enjoy the show, please do give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and check out the rest of my movie-related content as well. We've got loads of different movie content on the channel. There's something for everyone now. I feel like there's something for everyone. But anyway, what did you think of my picks anyway today? Best non-force sensitive characters in the Star Wars universe. Did you like my picks? What would be some of your choices? Give me your 4 choices for today's show. Let me know all your choices. And thank you very much for watching. As always, it's been a very, very fun show to dive into. I've really enjoyed it. As always, it's been great. And yeah, so thank you very much for watching. And as always, I will see you next time.